Hello viewers, going to be working on a different type of vehicle today. I just recently picked up this, I think it's a 71 Starcraft Super Sport 16 foot, and I'm going to be taking it out on the water today, but I already did test drive it like last week, and it runs pretty decent, but I don't think the water pump's working real good. It's got these two slots right here that water sprays out of, and at low speed you can see it spraying out, but once you get on it and look, there's nothing coming out of there. So I'm not exactly sure how these work, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be water coming out of there all the time. So I'm pretty confident. I got a weak pump, so I ordered a new one, and you know, even if it doesn't really need one, I'll feel better about it if I know it's been changed. The guy did say that this has all been gone through, but who knows if they actually mess with the pump. So anyway, it's a 55 horse, 2-stroke Evinrude. I believe it's a 1976 model. And pop the hood off right here. Alright, so basically all we need to do to get the pump off is get this lower gearbox off here, and then the pump should be sitting right in this area, and slam it in there, and hopefully I can get this done and we can go riding today. So I figured I would get a new thermostat for it. This little guy right there. Part number 55440. And also I got the Sierra brand pump. I don't know why I didn't get the Evinrude one, but it says it's for a Yamaha. So hopefully this is the right pump. Looks right. Got that thing. Comes with 4 bolts, new key and stuff. Bottom plate here. So I don't know why it says it's for a Yamaha, but I don't know. I got the part numbers off of like an Outboard.com website and traced them all, made sure I was getting the right thing. So, but that one looks like the right one, so hopefully we'll be good. Okay, I got the starter unhooked. So you got two bolts down here. You can see the 2 holes here and there, and then you got one over here on the corner. If your engine is still in your boat, make sure your battery's unhooked before you start pulling starters apart. So set that there. Yep, right down in there is where the linkage is. So let's pull that forward bolt that you can see right there, if it'll focus on it. That one right there, we're gonna take that off, and then take the bolts out, and hopefully that's enough to loosen up that rod. So here's the pin that holds the shift linkage. So it looks like there it goes through a hole. So we'll just have to pay attention. Where are we at? We'll have to pay attention to that. You can see that on the back side, that's actually the link. So that screws into here, and then the part without threads goes through the hole in the shift linkage. So that might be a little tricky to get back together, but I guess we'll see. So now we can move on to down here Well, it looks like we got a couple of bolts here. And then the two big ones on the side. So, luckily this motor came with a set of ears, so I can test this out before I take it to the lake. Okay, got it off. So you can see better the 6 bolts that hold this on. I took out these 4 here first on the sides, and then the last one I took out would have been this one right here, and I kind of held on to it while I was taking that out because I could see it starting to come down. I didn't want to drop it. So I moved that over to my workbench. So let's get this pump housing off here and see about putting the new propeller, or whatever you want to call it, impeller in there. So we got 4 bolts holding it on. So let's just buzz those out real quick. Make sure we really keep track of how everything comes off, because we don't want to put anything on wrong and then get all mad. So I got them 4 bolts pulled out right there. Got 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. So let's take this piece off, and remember that it has a slot right here that faces the input shaft. So that slot right there goes towards the input shaft, so we can't put this on the wrong way around. Okay. Now, will this just pop up? Yep. So this whole thing's gonna come off. So you got your key there. The kit I have has a new one, so let's see. Let me get my light off here. Pull this off so we can. Well, let's pop this little seal off here because I don't know if it's going to make it past that seal. So let me get that seal pulled off there, and then we'll pull this off and look at it. So here's what we got for the impeller. It doesn't look bad, but you can see it's got a fin here going the wrong way. So I'm not sure if maybe it looks like it has been changed, but I don't know if maybe the guy put it in wrong. It does appear that this kit is the one that is for this, so that's good. So here's what I did, because I'm not sure which way this is supposed to spin. Okay, so I went and looked at the top end of the engine and seen when this thing is in forward gear, the shift lever gets pulled up. So if we can pull this up, okay, it's pulled up, and spin this and figure out which way is forward. Okay, so if I spin it clockwise or to the right, the propeller spins in the right way. See, it wants to go this way when I spin it right. So it's going to be, you know, taking the water from here and pushing it out back, so that's right. Okay, so now I know that this is spinning this way. Right. Okay. So, put that back in neutral if I can. There we go. It's kind of neutral. Okay, so if that's spinning right, this sits in there like this. It's going to be getting turned this way towards the right. So yeah, I think they're all good except for this one right here. That fin's going the wrong direction. So if I'm turning this to the right, turning it? Yeah, it gets confusing because when I flip everything upside down, it's the wrong way around. So upside down, it should be going to the left. If you spun this to the left, like this, these are all right, except for this one. Well, there was a gasket underneath this plate, and the kit didn't come with a new one, so I had to make one. Should work good. Made out of cork. Always a good idea to keep a roll of cork gasket with you when you're working on old stuff that you can't get parts for easily. So I'm going to scrape what's left on the bottom end of the motor off and start putting this stuff back together. Alright, so I replaced the two seals right here. Really easy to do, they just pop off. And I got the new impeller in the key. I hammered the new key in there. The old one just slotted in. This one you actually had to tap in with I used a screwdriver and a hammer. And I kind of like that better because you don't have to worry about the key falling out of it. It stays put. And then you just line up your key right here and it's good. So now I had to use a little silicone to hold the gasket to this backing plate to keep everything in line. And you can see I got everything coated in dish soap to help it all go together. So let me get, well, I wish it came with a new seal for this. You could see somebody had put a little silicone on there. I don't know. If I did put some more silicone, I got soap all over this anyway, so it probably wouldn't help. I guess I'll just put it on like this. Alright, it was super easy. So I just had some vice grips hooked on here, not super tight so you don't screw up your splines. And you just turn this to the right as you push down on this. But don't push it hard, just push it like moderate. A little pressure on it. And then keep winding the shaft around, and then all those little fins will start grabbing and going into place, and then it'll just slide down on it. But it's super important you turn this the direction the engine's going to be turning it. Because if you turn it the other way, like to the left, all your fins will be facing the wrong direction, like what happened here. So I assume the guy, you can see this one's bent the other direction. I think that was causing me issues. So you don't want that to happen. So put the impeller on, soap everything up really well, then slide this down and spin it around while you're pushing it on to the right. Bolt this baby down, and then put the new seal on here, put some grease on these splines, and then we can slam it back up in the rest of the engine. Okay guys, so I was looking, this is the outlet for the water. Alright, so it shoots out of here, and then there's like a copper tube on the other part of the engine, and it goes up to the engine basically. And how I took it off, this is what it was like. There's just a hole here. I don't know if that copper tube's supposed to slide down in there and make contact with this seal here, or there's supposed to be a seal up here too. So this is the old seal from down here, and I just fitted it, and it fits perfectly on that copper tube. So I think I might just stick this in here like that, and that's going to make a tight fit. And maybe that's why the pump wasn't working. The guy didn't put, maybe this is supposed to have a seal up here too, I don't know. Spent a half hour trying to find my ratchet. I'm going to tighten these up slowly and gradually, just go around and around, do like an X pattern. You don't want to torque it down really tight either, or torque one side down really tight, leave the other loose. You don't want to warp this plastic housing. So I'm just going to go around, tighten it a little bit at a time until I feel like it's good. I don't know what the torque spec is. If I had to guess, probably be somewhere between like 5 and 10 foot-pounds, but I don't really know for sure. So I'm going to go to around there I don't have a torque wrench, so I'm just going to try to feel it out. One last thing I did is I put some soap in there, and also put some on the tube inside the engine, so that'll slide together easy. Also, I think I'm going to leave this up shifted, so pull up on it. So it should be in forward now. That way when I'm putting this up and these splines here don't want to line up, I should be able to just turn the propeller, you know, and turn it the right direction. It should turn that a little bit so it'll line up for me. Alright, I'm gonna go shove this back up in there and we'll get back to you once I got it on. Well, I got it bolted back on. Possibly the most finicky thing about this whole job, potentially in the whole world, is getting that shift rod lined up and that bolt that holds it into the shift arm back together. So that took me a while, but I finally got it. So all I gotta do is bolt the starter back on. Well, I forgot to film the water pump test when I had the ears on the water intake, those two like suction cup things that just shoot hose water in the intake. The reason I forgot to film is because I was having some massive confusion, so I had to go online to try to figure out how this even works, and that just made me more confused. But I think I kind of figured it out. I'm not sure 100%, but this is how I feel like it works. So you got your water intake here, alright? And then here, I think, is actually where the water ejects. It's like the main area. Alright. These slots here, water does come out of here, but it only comes out if the engine or the boat motor is actually in the water. If you use the ears, I was only getting water coming out of here. And that's why I was like, I'm not sure if my pump's working right, so I had to go do some research. Alright. So when I fired it up, if you remember, I used dish soap to lubricate the impeller and everything to make it all slide together easy. So I had soapy water coming out of here when I first fired it up, so I knew, you know, these holes here, the water is coming from the pump. And I let it run for a while, thinking maybe it just needed time to, you know, circulate, and maybe the thermostat had to open before it start coming out of here, but it never did. But the water coming from here was getting warm as I let it run, so it was going through the engine and out these holes. So, you know, it seems like a lot of people online were confused by this, like me. And nobody really, as far as I could tell, had a solid answer for it. I watched another guy's video and he had the same exact thing. He put the ears on and just had water coming out of here, nothing up on these slots here. So, put it in the water, then you do have, if you put it in the lake, you will have water coming out of here. Seems to me though that's only at like low engine speeds water comes out. And that's what it was doing before, so I thought the pump was bad. Although with the new pump there is more water coming out. So, but ultimately, you know, if you don't know, it's probably best just to change it because it wasn't that bad of a job. So I ran it, I probably got 5 hours solid on it since the water pump, and it never overheated, so I'm pretty confident that everything's functioning correctly. So, I guess that'll be it for this video, so I guess I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.